This was a story that did appear in the Israeli press, because the Israeli press wanted always to encourage awareness of the Holocaust and what people went through and the misiut nefesh that they did have. So my first cousin, and it came experienced this, and it was under the heading that I put on tefillin every day in the camps. My first cousin was had a bunk next to a gentleman who was quite a lot older than him, and the older man had a pair of tefillin which he put on every morning. My cousin was just over bar mitzvah. His parents, he was separated from his parents. He had an older brother whom he didn't know where he was. He was all alone in the world. And this man in the camp was able to put on tefillin every single day. Now my cousin, did say, was 13 years old, and he thought, well, really, he ought to put tefillin on. So he asked the older man and said to him, look, please, when you finish the tefillin, I'm over bar mitzvah, can I put the tefillin on? The man hummed and hawed and said to him, well, what can you give me for it? So my cousin said, well, I really haven't got anything. He said, none of us have got anything. Oh, he said, then you can't put the tefillin on. And the boy asked him the second day, and after a day or two, my cousin said, you know what, the only thing is we get a portion of bread every morning. I'll give you half my portion of bread, and if that's all right, and then you can give me the tefillin. And the man said yes. And for a few days this went on. My cousin gave him half his bread, half his breakfast, and the man gave him the tefillin, and he put the tefillin on. This older man was so impressed with my cousin that he had that misiut nefesh, that he could was prepared to give that little bit of food that he had in order to be put on tefillin. He said to him, you know what, it doesn't matter, I don't want the bread anymore. You can put on my tefillin every single day. And he said, and I put on tefillin every single day whilst I was in the camps. That story appeared in the Israeli press, but there is a sequel to it. Many years later, my cousin was sitting in a hotel. He had since married and established a family, and it was in the lobby, and they were waiting for some wealthy gentleman who was coming, and they were going to honor him. And my cousin asked, who is this man? And he said, well, he's Mr. X. So my cousin said, the name rang a bell. He said, oh, that was the man who enabled me to put tefillin on every day in the Holocaust. And he went up to him and said, do you remember me? I am the guy that you gave your tefillin every day to, so that I could put do the mitzvah of tefillin.
It is incredible.
We don't know how people were dedicated to what they felt was the right thing to do. And I don't know if we would be able to do that today.
So, Anne, I've heard from this story, because it is a very well-known story, that some people...
Have you heard it before?
I have heard it before, and
yeah.
Some people say the reaction was, how terrible of this man that he took the bread from the little boy that he got a meager little portion of bread that was life-sustaining, and he was prepared to take the bread that he could use his tefillin. And then people say the opposite. They said, well, how amazing is this little boy who was prepared to give up his bread in order to put on the tefillin?
Yes, I accept both. And I must admit, I did once, I was of the first view that you said. Right, and I don't know that if today, somebody would take the bread, but I think I've come to the conclusion that the circumstances in the Holocaust were so horrific. It was something we really can't understand, and we are not allowed to judge.
Absolutely.
And I think, yes, it's very nice when we've got all the goodie, everything that we need in this state and more, that we can say, how could one do it? But we can't. People have done far, far worse things, and we know that people have done to survive, that we are not allowed to ask. We have to be grateful and privileged that we are living today in a free world because of what these people did, and chas v'shalom, that we are in any way allowed to judge that, and I wouldn't want to do it.
Absolutely, but I think that this young cousin of yours was prepared to give his bread, and people were starving, and they starved to death in order to do the mitzvah.
Yeah, absolutely. At that point, I agree.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah,
it is
that I agree.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that I really do agree. As I said, it's on the first point where I did think about that. I have to say I would disagree with you.
Yeah,
we're not allowed to do
absolutely. But it is the most remarkable story. You must be so proud of your.
It's amazing. The man is no longer alive, but he's really left a legacy, and his children really live up to it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Pleasure.
Such a most incredible, unbelievable story.
Absolutely. Yeah.